Boosie is in hot water with the feds. Him and J. Prince Jr. Mob tied.
When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to rob him and killed the dude. What the hell, my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill somebody? Bro, we getting money, man.
Boosie is currently under federal investigation for allegedly setting up Duke the jeweler and playing a role in his murder after luring him into a rigged dice game connected to J. Prince Jr. in Houston. But before we get into the fallout, let's break down exactly how this whole setup allegedly unfolded, because once you hear it, it's going to blow your mind. And real quick, before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because this story gets dark fast, no cap. What we're talking about here isn't just rap drama, it's serious street politics, the kind most people never see. This is organized crime hiding in plain sight, disguised as hip-hop culture. First, it's important to understand who Duke the jeweler really was. Duke wasn't just some random jeweler from Chicago. He was one of the most respected names in the Midwest, a self-made businessman who built his reputation from the ground up. He worked with everyone from local rappers to professional athletes, earning trust through consistency, quality, and real relationships. So when Boosie reached out to Duke about creating a custom piece, it didn't seem unusual. Duke had worked with rappers before, but Boosie was different. We're talking about a Louisiana rap legend with deep industry ties and serious street credibility. A call like that could take a jewelry business to the next level. But that's where things started to feel off. Instead of handling business in Chicago or Louisiana, Boosie insisted Duke come to Houston. He pitched it as a huge Labor Day weekend, saying there would be celebrities in town and major opportunities to lock in new clients. He made it sound like a networking goldmine. Duke was excited. He even posted on social media about heading to Houston and the business opportunities waiting for him. What he didn't know was that he was allegedly walking straight into a setup that would cost him his life. And this is where J. Prince Jr.'s alleged operation comes into focus, because this goes way deeper than one dice game. According to the streets, this wasn't random. J. Prince Jr. has allegedly been running the same play for years, refining it to the point where it looks almost professional. The strategy is simple but deadly. First, targets are identified, usually out-of-town rappers, athletes, or successful businessmen coming into Houston. Through industry connections, they figure out who's in town, how much money they're carrying, and what kind of jewelry they have on them. Then comes the introduction. J. Prince Jr. doesn't move sloppy. He presents himself as a respected Houston figure, someone offering protection, hospitality, and love to visitors. Mutual friends vouch, social media connections are made, and trust is built. Once the target feels comfortable, they're brought into the inner circle, taken around the city, introduced to key people, made to feel like they're part of something exclusive. That's when the dice games come into play. The alleged plan with Duke was simple: let him win a little at first to boost his confidence, then switch to rigged dice and clean him out. The goal was to take his money and send him back to Chicago broke, but something went wrong. According to multiple street accounts, Duke ended up rolling with real dice instead of the trick ones. Whether the dice got mixed up or someone made a mistake, the scam backfired. Duke started winning big. By the end of the night, Duke had won over $645,000. He was cleaning house, taking money from people who weren't used to losing, especially not to an outsider. The energy in the room shifted fast. Tension built with every roll. Their own setup had failed, and now Duke was walking away with serious money from very dangerous people. The magnetic tables, the trick dice, none of it mattered once real dice hit the table. And that's when everything started to spiral out of control.
Man,
Boosie was standing right behind Duke the entire time, and people noticed he kept whistling. At first, it seemed harmless, like he was just joking around. But later on, folks started realizing those whistles were likely signals. He appeared to be communicating with others in the room, possibly coordinating how the situation would be handled. What makes it even crazier is that Duke wasn't acting reckless at all. Even while he was winning big money, he stayed respectful and never tried to flex or disrespect anyone. But ironically, winning that money ended up being the worst thing Duke could have done. Once Duke finished cleaning everyone out at the dice game, the vibe in the room shifted fast. The same people who were friendly and welcoming suddenly became cold and calculating. They clearly weren't about to let an out-of-town jeweler walk away with more than $500,000. According to witnesses and street talk, there was a private meeting after the dice game ended. Boosie, J. Prince Jr., and others allegedly came together to figure out how they were going to get that money back. This wasn't an impulsive move, it was planned. They knew Duke was scheduled to attend Boosie's concert the next night, which gave them time to map everything out. They tracked his movements, figured out where he was staying, and set up what they believed was the perfect ambush. From what's being said, multiple people were following Duke throughout the day. When they finally confronted him in the parking lot, Duke didn't go down easily. He tried to defend himself, but he was badly outnumbered and completely outgunned. The attackers came ready, while Duke was simply trying to get to his car and head back to his hotel. The shooting happened fast and was extremely violent. Duke was shot multiple times, his winnings from the dice game were taken along with his jewelry, and the shooters vanished. This is where people say Boosie's performance began. Right after Duke was killed, Boosie allegedly went into full damage control mode. He posted multiple videos trying to separate himself from the situation, speaking on how sad he was, calling Duke a good dude, and saying that kind of violence wasn't his style. Many people, however, felt those statements came off more like acting than genuine grief.
Dudes tried to rob him. Some dudes had tried to rob me and walked off by himself.
Boosie also tried to flip the narrative by claiming Duke actually lost money at the dice game, even though everyone knows Duke cleaned up that night. He said Duke wasn't upset about losing, but that story doesn't add up. How do you get mad about losing when you walked away with over $600,000? The lies just don't connect. And what really raised eyebrows is how Boosie's account of what happened after the concert kept changing. At first, he said Duke left alone. Then he claimed Duke was with other people. Later, he switched the story again. When someone is telling the truth, the details don't keep shifting like that. The most disturbing part of Boosie's response was how he tried to turn Duke's death into a sympathy play for himself. Instead of keeping the focus on the man who lost his life, he went online talking about how the internet was blaming him, how people were being unfair, and how the situation was affecting his mental health. Meanwhile, a man was murdered, and Boosie seemed more concerned with protecting his image than honoring Duke's life.
Y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to rob him and killed the dude. What the hell my 19-year-old cousin gonna try to rob and kill somebody? Bro, we getting money, man. We get fucking money. That ain't our stilo. As a boss, I ain't letting that go down like that, man. This dude finna make me a piece. So y'all need to kill that. That's bad low, man. Don't put us in nothing with no bad low. It's bad low, man.
The fake sympathy in those videos was so obvious that it only made people more suspicious. Real grief doesn't come off like a performance, and Boosie clearly looked like he was acting for the camera. He was trying way too hard to appear innocent, and that effort just made him look even guiltier. Then fans uncovered video footage showing Boosie's nephew leaving the building right before Duke was shot, which sent shockwaves online. People started digging through security footage, social media posts, and witness statements, piecing together a detailed timeline that laid out exactly how the murder unfolded. Things got even darker when internet investigators claimed Duke's Louis Vuitton bag containing his jewelry was found at Boosie's house. That raised serious questions. Boosie said Duke asked him to hold the bag during the dice game, but after Duke was killed, why didn't that bag go back to his family? Why was it still sitting at Boosie's place like it belonged there? As the digging continued, social media users began linking this case to other suspicious incidents involving J. Prince Jr. and his circle, pointing out a pattern of out-of-town figures getting robbed or killed after Houston dice games. Suddenly, it looked less like an isolated incident and more like part of something bigger. Once the internet essentially laid everything out, Boosie's attitude shifted completely. He stopped playing the role of the grieving friend and started showing anger that people had figured things out. That reaction alone spoke volumes. He began posting heated videos attacking internet detectives and keyboard warriors, clearly upset that people were connecting the dots. But if he were truly innocent, why get mad at people trying to find justice for Duke? An innocent person would welcome the investigation, not fight it. Instead, Boosie focused on discrediting the evidence fans uncovered, phone records, fingerprints, and witness accounts, trying to explain it all away. But none of his explanations really added up. When someone has to work that hard to dismiss evidence, it usually raises more red flags. What stood out the most was that Boosie spent more energy attacking people seeking justice than actually mourning Duke. It became clear his priority was protecting his image, not honoring a life lost. And then things took an even crazier turn. Even members of Boosie's own family began speaking out. His brother, TQ, came forward claiming he had proof that Duke was set up. When your own blood is hinting at your involvement, you know the situation is serious. Boosie and TQ had already been feuding for years over money and business disputes, including allegations in court documents that TQ stole over $360,000 from Boosie and helped an artist leave his label behind his back. But the Duke situation pushed TQ to speak in a way he never had before. He started posting online, suggesting he knew the real story behind Duke's death and that Boosie wasn't nearly as innocent as he claimed. According to TQ, he had receipts that could expose the entire setup.
You think niggas wake up and just choose Boosie to steal from? You don't think there's better people to steal from? Like, it's not fucking happening. Boosie is not a victim, dog. Like, that nigga ain't no... Boosie is a fucking villain.
Here's where the story takes an even darker turn. A lot of people believe what happened to Duke may be connected to Takeoff's death from Migos. When you really look at it, the similarities are hard to ignore. Both situations involved dice games in Houston. Both were tied to the same circle around J. Prince Jr., and both ended with young, successful men losing their lives over money, jewelry, and so-called respect. That's not coincidence. That looks like a pattern. The setup is always the same. Successful artists or businessmen come to Houston, get invited to exclusive dice games, tensions rise over money or ego, and somehow they never make it home. That's predatory behavior, plain and simple. And the scariest part? There could be other victims we don't even know about. How many people were lured into similar situations and didn't live to tell the story? How many families are grieving right now because of these setups? Charleston White has been warning people about this for years. He's openly called out the environment surrounding J. Prince Jr. and his crew, saying the so-called check-in culture isn't about respect or protection at all. It's about identifying and targeting successful outsiders. The Takeoff incident happened at a dice game where money and pride were on the line. Duke's situation happened after he won big at a dice game involving dangerous people. The parallels are impossible to ignore. Both cases point back to the same group and the same gambling culture that thrives off exploiting wealth. Now here's why this matters even more. The federal investigation into Duke's murder is still active, and sources close to the case say indictments could be coming. Federal prosecutors don't move unless they're confident, and the evidence being discussed is reportedly overwhelming. Boosie continues to claim innocence, but his legal team is said to be bracing for serious charges. When the feds are building a case, money and clout won't save you. The entire industry is watching closely. If this case cracks open, it could expose a much larger network of organized crime that's been operating in hip-hop circles for years. If one domino falls, others might follow. More victims could come forward, More cities could come under investigation. This case alone could change how artists handle security, travel, and business relationships going forward. The Duke case has already forced people to question the dangers of check-in culture. Artists are starting to realize that checking in with street figures may not be about safety at all. It may be the exact thing putting them in danger. Labels and management teams are reportedly reevaluating security strategies and warning artists to be far more cautious when moving through certain cities. Blind trust is becoming a liability. If Jay Prince Jr. and his circle end up going down, the impact to Houston's hip-hop power structure could be massive. Artists and entrepreneurs may finally be able to operate without fear or paying tribute just to stay safe. And that's why this story is bigger than one tragedy. Duke the jeweler wasn't just a victim. He may be part of a larger pattern of exploitation and violence that's been hidden in plain sight. The fact that Boosie's own family members are speaking out only adds to how serious this situation has become. When your own blood won't defend you, that tells you everything. The investigation is ongoing, but the evidence, the witnesses, and the patterns are all pointing in the same direction. Justice may have taken time, but it looks like it's coming. And if you learned something new from this breakdown, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tapped in. This is the kind of deep dive content mainstream media avoids, but the people deserve the truth. I'll be dropping more investigations into hip-hop drama and street politics that will seriously open your eyes. Stay safe out there. Not everyone who smiles in your face is your friend. Sometimes the same people inviting you to the party are the ones waiting for you in the parking lot. Duke the jeweler learned that lesson the hardest way possible, but the truth always comes out. The internet doesn't forget, and it doesn't lose. Justice for Duke is coming, and when it does, it's going to expose a lot more than just one crime. Peace.